My name is Madeline Tran. I'm 34, a strategic finance consultant living in Portland, Oregon, and I don't cry easily. Not anymore. But that morning, I cried. Not loud, not dramatic. Just silent tears sliding down my face as I stared at my phone, screen, rereading the message from my mom for the third time. Sweetheart, we just think it might be easier if you watch the wedding online. With all the guests and Blake's side, it could get a little complicated. No offense, okay? No. Offense. Like that erased the sting. Like those two words covered the fact that I'd spent the last 8 months quietly funding, organizing, and managing the entire damn wedding. I paid the $14,000 venue deposit. I handled the florist when Emily wanted off-season white peonies. I set up the vendor tracking spreadsheet, scheduled fittings, even booked the shuttle vans. But apparently, I was never really meant to be there. They didn't say, "Don't come." That would have been easier to fight. They said, "You were never really included." And that's worse. That's like getting ghosted from your own family. I went to check the wedding site, just to see if I was overreacting. There it was, clear as day. Under the VIPs section, bridesmaids, Blake's parents, even Blake's great-uncle Joe. I wasn't listed. Scroll down, and there I was, under a random section labeled Extended Family Support. No photo, no bio, just my first name. Spelled wrong. I laughed. The kind of laugh that gets stuck in your throat and tastes like betrayal. I had Emily's back through everything. When she flunked out of college, when she broke her lease and begged me not to tell Mom and Dad. I covered for her, paid for her, protected her. And now? I was a ghost. A bank account with legs. A name to erase. I never expected to be the favorite. I'm not charming like Emily, not bubbly or adorable in group chats, but I thought being dependable meant something. Turns out, it just meant I was easy to forget. That morning, my tea went cold. My inbox blinked with vendor confirmations, and I realized I wasn't heartbroken. I was humiliated. Quietly, completely, and in a way no one would ever acknowledge. That was the day I stopped checking the wedding timeline. That was the day I started making a different plan. I used to think loyalty would earn me a place. That being reliable, being the one who always showed up, would count for something. But I was wrong. Not just wrong. Laughably, pathetically wrong. Looking back, the signs were always there. Like the time Emily flunked her first semester at college and spiraled into a full-blown panic attack. My parents were too busy giving her space, so I drove 4 hours in the rain to pick her up. I helped her reapply to a local college, paid for new application fees, even coached her through the admissions interview. She got in. She never mentioned me in the thank you Facebook post she made a week later, just wrote, "Grateful for second chances and the people who never gave up on me." That people apparently didn't include me. When Dad's firm went under in 2020 and the mortgage on our childhood home was 3 months behind, they called it a rough patch. I called it what it was, a crisis. I didn't hesitate. I wired them $22,000 from the house fund I'd been quietly building since I was 25. No strings, no questions. Not even a formal thank you, just a voicemail from Mom saying, "You're a lifesaver, sweetie, but please don't tell your uncle, he'd just gossip." Like my help was something shameful. Then came Mom's hip surgery. Emily posted a cute, throwback selfie with her in a hospital gown captioned, "My superhero." She got 900 likes. Meanwhile, I had taken unpaid leave, flown in, stayed 10 days, cooked, cleaned, managed meds, and scrubbed that bathroom floor so often I started calling it my office. And I was invisible. Again. And I let it happen. Every time. I told myself I didn't need credit. That love isn't transactional. That being the backbone meant you didn't get to be the face. But slowly, something inside me started to rot. Quietly. I noticed how, when I fixed things, people acted like there was never a problem. I became weather, expected to be there, always adjusted to, never seen. The wedding wasn't the betrayal. It was just the final straw. The moment I realized I hadn't been sidelined recently, I'd been written out long ago. The problem wasn't the missing bio on the wedding site. It was that they didn't think I'd care. Because I never asked to be seen. I only ever asked to be useful. So, I stopped asking. I started remembering all the times I'd poured into them and how none of it had left a trace. No receipts, no recognition, just a trail of erasures. That's when I began collecting. Not out of pettiness, out of clarity. I pulled vendor receipts. Saved confirmation emails. Archived thank you notes from caterers, florists, planners, people who saw me when my own family didn't. It wasn't revenge. Not yet. It was just the beginning of a realization. Maybe I wasn't the problem. Maybe I was just the easiest to use. And for the first time, I started to wonder what would happen if I stopped letting them. It was a Thursday afternoon when Lena, my assistant, and, at this point, the only person who actually asked if I was okay, forwarded me an email thread she wasn't even supposed to see. It was a casual exchange between the wedding planner and my mom, something about finalizing the photography shot list. Buried halfway through, like a passive-aggressive landmine, was this line: "Please make sure the bride's sister isn't in the front row photos. Emily prefers it that way. No, please consult. No, let us know. Just a directive." And at the bottom, a thumbs-up emoji from Emily. The same sister I once defended during her breakup with that toxic guy. The same sister I bailed out of a broken lease without ever telling mom and dad. She'd erased me with a tap. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even reply. I just stared at the screen like I was looking at a stranger's life. And then something in me clicked. Not the kind of click that comes with clarity, but the kind that comes before a shutdown. I leaned back in my chair, stared at my planner, and started making a new kind of checklist. Not for her wedding, for my exit. First, I logged into the shuttle booking account and canceled all the transport arrangements. Refunds were partial, but I didn't. Kare. Then, I removed my email from the florist portal and changed the contact to Emily's Gmail. I added a note. Please direct future communication here. Then I went deeper. The Dropbox folder labeled Emily Wedding Final Assets, deleted. Not out of spite, but because I no longer owed them clarity. The calendar invites for vendor calls? Gone. The budget tracker spreadsheet I'd color-coded down to the cent? Archived, locked, and backed up to my private drive, just in case they tried to play dumb later. And then I started collecting. Not out of vengeance, yet, but to preserve the truth. Every invoice I had paid. Every thank you for your quick response email from the planner. Screenshots of the original wedding site where I was listed as planning team, and of the update where that line mysteriously disappeared. Time-stamped, backed up, documented. They wanted me to be invisible? Fine. I'd vanish so completely, they'd feel the air shift, but I wasn't just walking away. I was quietly flipping switches they didn't even know existed. Every system they leaned on had my name on it. Credit cards, vendor logins, timelines, even the layout for seating charts. They'd leaned so hard on my competence they forgot I could step away. And the best part? No one noticed. Not a single call. No, hey, did something happen? No check-in from Mom. No text from Emily. They were too busy chasing the illusion of a Pinterest-perfect wedding to realize the foundation had started to crack. I wasn't being petty. I was being precise. And that precision? That was about to cost them everything. The wedding went exactly the way I knew it would, like a car with no brakes heading toward a wall of reality. No flowers, no string quartet, no tent to shield guests from the brutal Texas heat. Emily walked down the gravel aisle holding a last-minute bouquet of grocery store tulips, trying to smile while sweat clung to her foundation. Guests sat on bare folding chairs, fanning themselves with discarded programs. The barn venue looked half-finished, like a backdrop waiting for someone to yell, "Cut." And still, they tried to make it work. I heard they even called it intimate and rustic in the wedding caption, as if a collapsed production was some curated vibe. The planner? Ghosted. The vendors? Never paid. The live stream? Never activated. I didn't watch it unfold in real time. I was hiking through the Columbia River Gorge with Lena. No cell signal, no guilt, just clean air and peace for the first time in months. It wasn't until 2 days later that the doorbell rang. I recognized the knock immediately, soft, rhythmic, deliberate. My mother. My father stood behind her, arms folded, expression unreadable. I opened the door halfway, waited. "Sweetheart," my mom began, gripping her purse like it might explode. We thought we should talk." I didn't say anything, just stepped aside. They walked in like they were entering a stranger's Airbnb. Clean, minimalist, not a trace of family photos anywhere. No framed childhood memories, no canvas. Prints of Emily's graduation. Just silence, and the faint scent of sandalwood and distance. "We're not here to argue," Dad said first. "We just want to clear the air." My mother nodded, eyes flicking around like she was searching for evidence of the daughter they thought they knew. Emily's wedding was challenging. Things got hectic. The planner dropped the ball. I raised an eyebrow, but said nothing. "But the way it looked," Dad continued, "it made Emily seem ungrateful. Blake's parents are upset. People are asking questions." There it was. Not concern for me, but damage control. It was never, "Are you okay?" It was, "Can you fix this?" Mom leaned in slightly. "If you could just post something. Maybe a quick update that work got in the way, or you chose not to attend for personal reasons. Nothing dramatic. Just something to calm things down." At that moment, Lena, flawless in navy slacks and a linen blouse, stepped into the hallway holding a sleek black folder. She glanced at my parents, then at me, and placed the folder on the credenza beside the untouched invitation to Emily's celebration brunch. My mother blinked. "That's your assistant?" I looked her straight in the eye. "One of them." Silence. I didn't explain. I didn't yell. I let the stillness speak for me. I had spent years trying to prove I mattered to people who only valued what I gave, not who I was. That part of me? It no longer needed their validation. They didn't come to apologize. They came for image control. I wasn't going to give it to them. They left without another word. And for the first time, the silence felt like freedom. The night after my parents left, I sat in my kitchen with a blank notebook and a single word written at the top. Enough. Enough pretending. Enough pouring into people who only saw me as useful. Enough building someone else's dreams while mine collected dust. That was the moment it hit me. If I could coordinate a 150-person wedding alone, under pressure, with zero support, and still keep it from completely collapsing until I let it, what else was I capable of? So I started building. Not for Emily. Not for family. For me. The idea had been sitting quietly in the back of my mind for years. An intelligent, automated event management platform that could streamline everything. Vendor contracts, schedules, budgets, staffing, all in one place. I called it Threadline, because that's what I had always been, the invisible thread holding chaos together. Lena came on as COO without hesitation. She'd seen the whole thing unfold, had watched me juggle timelines and meltdowns without ever dropping the ball. We worked out of my condo for the first 3 months, coffee-fueled 2 a.m. whiteboard sessions, cold pizza, investor decks drafted between Zoom consults. I coded, she negotiated. We both refused to sleep on it. And the irony? It wasn't lost on me. The same disaster that erased me gave birth to something real, something mine. 8 months in, we closed a $1.7 million seed round. The lead investor said, "You clearly know how to manage complexity. What's your background?" I just smiled and said, "Family weddings." I deleted the last group chat with my extended family that week. No fanfare, no bitterness. Just a quiet exit from a room that no longer served me. Threadline went live in beta the following month, and every time a user posted about how our platform saved their event from spiraling into chaos, I felt something unfamiliar: pride. Not in being needed, but in building something where I mattered first. For the first time, I was no longer the scaffolding. I was the structure. A month after we launched, I woke up to an email from a tech journalist at a mid-sized publication. The subject line read, "Would love to feature your story. Heard the backstory is wild." I almost deleted it, assuming it was another clickbait angle. But then the article dropped a week later, and the headline stopped me cold. From the eye, sister erased from a wedding photo to the CEO behind $1 million event tech startup. It went viral within hours, not because it was scandalous, but because it was relatable. People flooded the comments, sharing their own experiences of being overlooked, undervalued, or used. Turns out the world is full of invisible scaffolding. And for once, someone had said it out loud. Investors who once ghosted me sent follow-up emails. Event planners across the country asked for demos. A podcast called Women Who Build asked me to come on and tell the real story behind Threadline. I said no. The story was already written, just not for them. Then, one evening, my phone buzzed. A text from Emily. "Saw the article. You're incredible. I know I hurt you. I really want to talk, just to explain. Can we meet?" I stared at it for a long time. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because I finally understood something I hadn't before. Forgiveness doesn't require proximity. I didn't need to hear her reasons. I didn't need an apology she hadn't made when it counted. I didn't need closure from someone who'd already shown me exactly who they were, so I didn't reply. I archived the message and turned off my phone. That night, I sat alone in the office, our real office now, not my kitchen table, and looked at the framed copy of that headline on the wall. I thought about how many times I'd begged silently to be seen, to matter, to be chosen. Now I didn't need anyone to choose me. I chose myself, and that, more than the funding or press or praise, was the real win. In the corner of my office, just beneath the window where the morning light cuts, through clean and golden, there's a single wooden frame. Nothing flashy. Worn edges, hand-carved. Inside it, a piece of heavy cream stationery with 5 simple words, written in my own handwriting. Reserved. Not forgotten. It's not there to remind me of the pain. It's not some symbol of vengeance or quiet rage. It's a bookmark, a gentle reminder that I was there. I mattered. I carried weight even when they pretended I didn't. And that value, my value, was never theirs to measure. I didn't burn bridges. I didn't post some viral expose. I didn't scream into the void begging to be heard. I just stepped back, and in doing so, left a silence so loud it echoed. I don't stalk their social media. I don't check family group chats I've long left. Occasionally, someone sends me updates. Emily's new job, my mom's birthday photos, a baby on the way. But I let the messages sit unread. Not out of bitterness, but because that chapter is closed. And I don't need to reread a story where I was never the main character. What I built speaks louder than anything I could say. Every time Threadline hits another milestone, every time a new planner signs up and messages us, "This made my life easier," I smile. Because that's the legacy I choose, not the forgotten sister. Not the invisible fixer, but the woman who turned erasure into elevation. If you've ever felt like the background character in your own life, if you've ever been pushed aside, overlooked, or dismissed, let this be your sign. You don't need revenge. You need clarity. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away well. If this story spoke to you, drop a comment below. I read everyone. And if you know someone who needs this kind of reminder, hit that like button, share this, and don't forget to subscribe. Because somewhere out there, someone else is still patching roofs while the house takes them for granted. Let them know they're reserved, not forgotten.